Right, Reverend and members of the General Assembly, please be seated. And thank you for those very kind words and welcome. There's been much talk around the Assembly about the joys of administrative lists, as well as how to introduce ourselves in a hybrid meeting. Now, on my part, there have been many occasions when I've searched a list of names to try to find mine. The problem is knowing which letter I'm listed under. Because I've discovered it could be under H, or T, or P, or even E. At least I don't have to look under W anymore. But I've also discovered when it comes to forms, there's often a little box that says occupation. That keeps me wondering for a long time because I often wonder, I could put down what I think I ought to put down and people are going to think it's a joke. Anyway, as for the record for this session, I will leave it up to you to decide which name you decide and indeed what number. But moderator, may I congratulate you on the style and manner with which you have conducted proceedings over the past week. I think we have all enjoyed your sense of humor and the way that you have made people relax. It makes a huge difference to the way that the atmosphere and the way the business continues. But it is also clear that you have put a great deal of thought and effort into preparing for the business at hand and steering the discussions with genuine knowledge and care. And if I might also add my thanks to the Principal Clerk and to you and to all the officers and the whole team, as you have so rightly, for all that they have done this week behind the scenes in the Assembly, both here in the hall as well. And Her Grace and I have been delighted to see that some traditions have been continued, especially when it comes to maintaining the attention and the energy of the officers during the lengthy debates and discussions. Only this year, we came properly prepared ourselves, just in case. Anyway, now while you've all been working really hard in here, we've been trying to be out and about and trying to visit communities and trying to extend the reach of the role of the Lord High Commissioner. And we've brought just a few images. Moderator, you can turn around for this bit because you might otherwise miss. We've been out and about in Edinburgh, here in Edinburgh, visiting Dance Base, which is for all ages, for Capability Scotland, which I think you're all very familiar again, but with people with profound difficulties. And I went to the Sunflower Garden, a Crossreach project. And I'm so delighted that Crossreach has been featured so well in this because it's been tremendous, all the work that you do. And then further afield, we've been up to Sutherland, to Golspie, to look at to visit the community there and to learn about climate and erosion change up there. We've been to Granton and Spey in Venetia, various enterprises around there, but the youth and the community, and trying to involve ourselves in the culture and the history and the traditions of Scotland. We've also been to the Sabalmore Ostaig Sleat Peninsula, which is celebrating 50 years of the college there, supporting the Gaelic College. And I have to say, I hope the pictures stop here because I can't keep up with them all. But there is one thing that I really do wish. There's one piece in all the scriptures that I get very envious, and that's the time of Pentecost. The whole idea that they could have been sitting in a room and suddenly there's this rushing wind and all these cloven tongues of flame, and suddenly they'll all be able to speak in any language that they wish. Do you know something? That never happened to me, and And we tried our level best to try and get a little hand on the Gaelic when we were over there. But I really do wish, even at this time of year, that the Holy Spirit would just give me a little bit of that ability to be able to speak other people's languages. We also managed to get to the Isles of Cole and Tiree, because it is the small communities and the distant communities who also need to be touched and remembered at this time. So hopefully we have tried to go out there, we've tried to listen, we've tried to learn, we've tried to share, and we've tried to encourage, and to pick up all the themes that we spoke of before. But I think I can speak on behalf of both of us and our entire suite. It has been a privilege and a pleasure to have been able to join you this week. We have enjoyed the many conversations that we've had. We've enjoyed learning about the issues and the concerns, as well as the hopes that you have for the future. But I also trust that you have found this week helpful, and that you feel that you have been encouraged and enthused. As you touched on, moderator, ministry can be a bit of a lonely business sometimes. So it's good to come together every now and then to be able to share, to be able to make contacts with others, to realize that you're not alone, and discover new ideas. And this morning, we heard Archbishop Justin talking about service. And yesterday, we recognized the service of our chaplains to the armed forces, and indeed all in chaplaincy in all its various forms. And I'm reminded of the motto of the Royal Military Academy of Sandhurst, which is serve to lead. Serve to lead. It sounds the wrong way round, but actually that is what I think we're all trying to do. And as you now take up your cross and return to your parishes and go about your ministry, can I offer a couple of words of comfort, which I've always found by St. Ignatius? Teach us, good Lord, to serve you as you deserve, to give and not to count the cost, to fight and not to heed the wounds, to toil and not to seek for rest, to labor and not to ask for reward, except that of knowing that we are doing your will. And finally, thank you. Thank you for the heartfelt response to His Majesty's letter to you all. And I will ensure that your thoughts and your prayers and good wishes are conveyed not just to His Majesty, but also to the Duchess of Rothesay. And I know they will be very much appreciated. So thank you for that. Right, Reverend Moderator, I wish you an extremely successful and fulfilling year. You will have both the cities of Edinburgh and Stirling celebrating 500 years of their royal charters from King David, which I think should fit neatly with your theme of building together. And you'll hopefully enjoy many other events and activities. And I very much trust that our paths will cross during the course of your year. But my final thought goes back to the business of building. And I'm so glad that you heard the passage from St. Matthew this morning about where to build your house. I had thought of using that on Saturday, but I changed my mind. I'm quite glad I did. Only because I got so far and then I thought, actually, it's a really bad one for me to use, because our house is built on sand. It's built on bag-shot sands, which at this time of year is fantastic because it produces the most amazing rhododendron azaleas. But I always slightly worry that it's built on sand. But before we moved in there, it used to be the college for the army chaplains. So it was the Army God College. That's where all chaplains went to learn how to be a chaplain. And it belonged to the family before that. And outside the house there is an ornamental pond. And I raised it because you mentioned rowing boats. But there's an ornamental pond. There used to be a sign next to the pond. And I say this as a final thought to all of you. The sign read, "Please do not walk on the water." ladies and gentlemen. And that, I think, is probably where I should close. I'll leave you with that thought. Right Reverend and well-beloved, your labours are now at an end. And in the King's name, I bid you farewell.